behind the title to your CD, Scat Got Your Tongue? Where'd that come from?
Scat Got My Tongue. Just actually it's the title track, and it's one of the first songs I ever wrote. So I just thought it would be... And it also captures scat, which is what I've been studying for the past decade. Scat singing.
Now, how do you study scat singing?
Well, I work on it every day for hours, and one thing that I've done is just copy the masters. So singing along with Ella Fitzgerald, Anita O'Day, Sarah Vaughan, anyone that I could find, really.
I didn't hear any men in there.
Bobby McFerrin, Louis Armstrong.
Eddie Jefferson? Or?
Eddie Jefferson, for sure. And also sax players, horn players.
Okay. And what would like a normal rehearsal with yourself be like? What would you do? Just put the records on and sing, or?
That's one, and then the other one, the first thing you do when you're lifting is you sing along with the recording.
Okay.
And then you sing without the recording. So walking down the street and just ba-ba-doo-doo-doo-doo, da-ba-doo-doo-doo.
Now, how detailed do you get? I mean, every note?
You do. You want to aim for... Yeah, I mean, it's like it's learning the jazz language. So any language you learn, you really want to get as precise as you can.
Do you get crazy when you hear other people scat and it doesn't seem to work and it becomes like the front end of what they do?
I don't know if it makes me crazy, but I'm like, I don't know how many solos that person has lifted.
Now, a couple years ago, you had a little session with Roberto Gambarini, and I remember this clearly.
Oh, yeah. That was
What'd you take from that?
That was amazing. It was so funny, because it was kind of early in the morning for me. It was at the distillery. I think it started at noon, which was early in the morning for me. And usually when you go to a workshop, you kind of know what you're going to do. You have something prepared, and you're like, okay, so this is what I'm going to do. And then you kind of have to sometimes fight your way up. And on that particular day, I think I had Lover Come Back to Me prepared, or something that she had recorded, and I wanted to get her feedback. But once I was in the room, there were a lot of people there, and they were all really eager, and I was like, well, you know what, maybe I won't do it. Maybe I'll just listen and absorb, and that's great. And then all of a sudden she's like, so when I talk about bebop, does people know what I'm talking about? And I was like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. And she was like, okay, come up here and sing some bebop for me. And I was like, huh.
That was something.
Okay, what do we do? And she said, well, give me a Charlie Parker head. And I was like, anthropology? And she was like, yeah. And all Charlie Parker's stuff is really complex. And I have to say, he is one of my very biggest influences in terms of playing fast and with that wonderful feeling that he has that influenced the whole jazz world. So it was really intense to sing that song without knowing that I was going to do it. And then she really nailed me, because she was like, no, you do it slow. So I was starting off with and she was like ba-doo ba-dee-doo-doo-doo. And what I've always found is that singing slow for me is way harder than singing fast.
But that's for anybody.
Yeah.
Even an instrumentalist. But
right.
That's how you're supposed to learn, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, what did you go away with that? You took that away and then you sort of changed your approach to learning tunes? Or?
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of reinforced for me. Like, yeah, you really gotta go back to the sheet music with these bebop heads and just every note slowly. And that's really great discipline.
Now, this is your debut CD.
Yes.
And you know something, I must say that you've really paid attention and did a beautiful artwork.
Thank you.
The layout, the sound, the recording. You did a lot of thought. There's a lot of thought behind this.
Well, I had some really wonderful help. The co-producer of my CD and did the art directions, Lisa Particelli, who's been a really big influence in my life. She hosts Girls' Night Out Jazz Jam, where thankfully gentlemen are welcome to. And that's in Toronto here every Wednesday night, and that's where I hone my chops. And I also was working with the brilliant American pianist Mark Keysweater, who played piano on half of the tracks and also co-produced with me. And he used to work with Jon Hendricks, and now he's working with me.
Oh, you're a lucky guy.
Yeah, I really am. I'm so blessed. And yeah.
The same way you got your photos done, everything was done, it was done in a very classy way. And now how are you finding response to this? Because you're in a world that's dominated by women.
Right. It's really funny, you know, people are just like, I find the response I've been getting with my recording is the people that are jazz people tend to really, really like it, and they're impressed, and they're like, wow, you know, you're the scat man, and do. And then, and some people don't really love scat, and then they tend to really like the ballad ones. And often, like, people that don't get scat singing, they're just like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing there? So it's interesting, because yeah, I mean, even if they know Ella, they're like, oh, but this is a guy singing. That's interesting. So yeah, I guess I'm kind of getting used to just the fact that I'm different and embracing that.
Now, did you was that something that you considered when you were making the album, that you were going to have a balance between both, so that you didn't get, that you could really reach out a little farther than just maybe say a Betty Carter style of crowd? Or
sure. Well, I think what I realized about I've been doing this for about 10 years now, and what I realized about 6 years into it was that there's more to jazz than scat singing. Because when I started, that was all I wanted to do. That's all I was interested in. And as I learned to use my voice better through a lot of study, and also I just got into a lot of singers that are just singing songs, like Billie Holiday and Frank Sinatra, and just, that's really, I mean, I just had this epiphany one day that that's the singer's job, really. That doing that is, I mean, we're the only instrument that has words to use. That's a very powerful thing, and we're the people that can make an audience cry the most easily, and that's amazing to me. I'm like, wow, telling a story in that way.
Now, how hard is it for you to find a spot for yourself when it, like I said, is dominated by women, and kind of expect that? And you know, do you find it when you try to get on festivals, you try to get into situations, that it's a lot tougher for you?
I guess in a sense it's tough, but in a sense being different is good. I mean, I do this because I love it, and I've been getting a really positive response the more I do it, and the better I get, and that really keeps me going. And you know, Toronto's a wonderful place with lots of, it's a tough place too, because there's a lot of competition, but you know, you just keep doing it, and you got to believe in what you do.
Now, how has radio responded to your record?
Really great.
Yeah.
Really great. I've been really blessed. Lots on CBC and Jazz FM and college radio, and just sent them out to the States, so hopefully hear from them soon.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah.
You went to U of T, you went to York University?
Yes.
Okay.
And Humber College.
And Humber. And you said the opera, or studying classical music, was really made the difference for you.
It was amazing. I mean, I started off at U of T doing English, actually, and it was during that time that I discovered jazz, and I was in a musical, Jesus Christ Superstar, and that was really my first time singing on stage, and it kind of kicked me in the behind and just said, you know, you got to do this, or you got to do this. So I switched over to York's music program, and I knew, right then I knew I wanted to be a jazz singer, and that's what I wanted to do. And then just through a strange twist of events, I had one friend and also one really great professor recommend that I study classical. And actually, it's a great story. I was doing my jury exam in second year, and I did the song Four Brothers, which is the first track on my album. I've been working on it for many years now. And I believe I also did What Is This Thing Called Love on that exam. And I had 3 jurors, and the first 2 really didn't know what to tell me. Like, they were just like, oh, that's very different. But then this guy, his name is Bill Westcott, and he's a wonderful piano player and great educator. And he said to me, Ori, I think it's great that you're so passionate about jazz music, but some of those pitches were not pitches. And I think you need to learn 16th and 17th century classical music in order to learn how to actually sing.